I now call the August 27th, 2020 special call meeting of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners to order. I'm going to call on I'm going to call on County Clerk Susan Mabry to call our roll, please.
Chairman Michelle Morgan.
Here.
Vice Chairman George Chambers. Here. Commissioner Montrell McClendon.
Here.
Commissioner Clint Chance.
Here.
Commissioner Tommy Lee. Commissioner Steve Fuller.
Here.
Commissioner Ernie Reynolds.
Here.
Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to ask Commissioner McClendon to offer our invocation and to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to serve this county, to serve the people of this county, and we thank you for just the task you've laid before us. And we have to remember everything that we do. We have to remember you and ask you to give us wisdom and knowledge in how we lead, Lord. We pray for our citizens. We pray for our country as we are still in the midst of a pandemic and a lot of uncertainties. But we do know for sure that you are always in control, no matter how out of control things may seem. Father, we just put our trust in you and ask you for your wisdom and guidance tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and which is the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now ask for a motion and a second to approve the agenda of this special call meeting.
Motion made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion approved 6-0.
The next item on the agenda is public comments, and that is what they are: an opportunity for the public to address the commission with any issues or concerns that they may have. All remarks are directed to the chairman and not to individual commissioners, staff, or any citizens in attendance. Members of the public shall not make inappropriate or offensive comments. Any individual who violates these rules of decorum may be removed from this meeting. At this time, the board will not comment, nor will the board take any action on the comments. Our speakers are limited to 3 minutes. There was a sign-up sheet in back. We'll take those comments first and then ask if there's any more from the audience. Do we have a sign-up sheet with any comments today? Okay, and I'm asking the audience here, does anyone have any comments they'd like to come forward? All right, seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to our financial session. We only have one item on this special call meeting. It's a consideration of the proposed resolution to levy the 2020 Carroll County and Carroll County Schools property tax and to adopt the 2020 homestead exemption. And I'm going to ask the County Attorney Stacey Blackman to review our resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. We have a proposed resolution in front of you to set the tax rate and authorize the levy for the year 2020. The proposed tax rate in the unincorporated area of Carroll County and all cities except for Carrollton and Bremen is 7.668 mils, and that's at the rollback rate. And then in the incorporated area of Carrollton, it's 6.23 mils, and in Bremen, the portion that's in Carroll County, is 6.439 mils. And for Carrollton and Bremen, the different rate is because of the service delivery on the duplication of services for fire. We also have to authorize the levy the county school taxes. Their board authorizes their millage rate, and it's 17.998 mils. And we also authorize the same homestead exemptions that we've had in past years, those from 1992, 2008, and 2002, and also direct the tax commissioner to collect those levy taxes.
Does anybody have any questions for our attorney?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say I probably get, and I don't know about the other commissioners, but 2 or 3, 4 calls a week about the school board, Carroll County School Board tax, and I try to tell folks that we don't authorize nor approve that, and that is correct.
That's correct. It's the Georgia Constitution states that the school board gets to set their own millage rate, and it's just a ministerial duty for this board. We don't have any say-so in the rate.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd like to make a couple of comments that I think are very positive. you know, every institution obviously has to look at their financial situation and make the best judgment call that they can. And what we're doing here, to Commissioner Reynolds' point, is simply authorizing the levy, not setting the millage rate. It's set for ourselves and unincorporated. And I think that looking at and speaking with the chairman and with the finance director and the department heads, I know everyone is trying to do a good job if we got into a situation where we needed to look at expenditures and so forth. I know that we've got a good team here that would take action, but the fact that we're able to roll this millage rate back during this time of COVID and uncertainty, I know we're going to have to tighten our belt a little bit, but we've been very fortunate that the county's been in a position where we feel that we can control expenses. Our revenues look pretty steady. They're off a little bit, but not to the extent that some had originally thought. But I think it's very important for our taxpayers to understand that this board is doing everything that we can to try to ease any burden. So I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to roll the millage rate back. I know moving forward, we've got a lot of commitments, such as the firemen at some of the different stations. Even if we get the grant, we're going to be looking at adding some things in the future. So we may not be in a position in the future to do this, but I think that we're being responsible and definitely am supportive of rolling the millage rate back. So I want to thank everyone that was able to spend their time diving into this and making sure this is something that we feel like we could feasibly do.
I'd like to agree with that wholeheartedly. And I thank each of my fellow commissioners and the chair for that. Also, and primarily, I thank the department directors throughout the county, and I think this is fabulous that we can roll it back. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, not hearing or seeing any more comments. Well, I guess not really seeing the comments, not hearing any. Is there a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, well, I guess I need to ask for more clarification. Is this a motion to approve the resolution establishing the 2020 millage rates for Carroll County and the Carroll County schools and levying the 2020 taxes for the same and adopting the 2020 homestead exemptions?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion approved, 6-0.
Great. So before I adjourn this meeting, I wanted y'all to know, as well as those that are listening, we're going to go, I'll call the next meeting straight to order. So do I have a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting?
Motion made to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. I'm adjourning the special call meeting. Now I'm going to call the work session of August 27th, 2020 Board of Commissioners work session to order. Before we get started, I wanted to do a census review. We received a letter from the governor's office, and we've been asked to assist with the census campaign. Briefly from the letter, it says, over the past several months, the governor's complete count committee has been hard at work ensuring that public events, lack of access to public computers and hotspots, delays in distributing the census packets to our rural residents that don't have a U.S. post office, and lack of media in helping, but I don't think that's locally for us. They've been very good. So they've asked that we do a census report at each commissioner meeting going forward, that we use our social media, and the county page has done a really good job. So I ask each of you if you will use your personal or your commissioner page to help promote the census. And any of your faith leaders that you know in your community, if they would do some positive reinforcement at their religious services. We will be reaching out to the schools once again, but I know that they have been doing emails, also getting their students and parents to be counted. And I've reached out to the chamber to continue to ask their businesses to ensure that their employees and their customers are counted. So I just ask each of you if you can continue to help on that. Our census response numbers as of today is Carroll County is at 62.3%, which sounds really good, except that we need 100%. Bowden is at 57.3, Carrollton's at 56.9, Mount Zion is at 59.7, Rooteville is at 57.5, Temple is at 63.7, Villa Rica is at 65.8, and Whitesburg is at 53.3. The other thing that we'll be putting on our county Facebook page, and I hope that y'all will share, is how to identify a census taker. And they will have on a PPE mask, they will have on a census badge, they will have a 2020 census phone with them, and they will also have a U.S. Census tote bag. So they're getting ready to be deployed now to start knocking on the doors of people who have not responded. So I want to make sure people know when someone's knocking at their door to make sure they do have a census taker asking for their information. So thank you for letting me share that with y'all, and for the public to please help us as you're listening to this. So we'll now move on to a review and discussion of items for the September 1st meeting. We're going to start with the financial session, which we have 9.1 is a proposal for the employee biometric screenings. These screenings are part of the county wellness program that happens every October, and I will have our Human Resource Director, Ann Lee, to come forward and to go over the proposals that we have and their recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair and District Commissioners. You have before you this afternoon quotes from 3 vendors who can perform the biometric screenings for the Carroll County Wellness Fair, which is going to be held in October. This year will be the 4th annual fair, and over the last 3 years, the county has utilized Synergy Wellness as its vendor. The cost for the service is based on employee participation. So if you look at the 3 quotes, there is about a $2,100 difference between Atlanta Health Systems and Synergy Wellness. It is the recommendation of the HR department to choose the vendor with the lowest cost and to utilize Atlanta Health Systems for this year's provider. Any questions?
Ms. Lee, I'm not arguing about saving money. I always want to do that, but I just want to make sure, obviously, if you're making a recommendation, then you believe in their services. But for that little difference, you feel confident that the other company that you're recommending choosing, that they can provide the level of services that you're wanting?
We've looked at them and compared from one vendor to another, and the other vendor can do exactly what this one can do. So I feel confident that no matter who we go with, they can provide what we need.
Okay, thank you.
And these costs benefit the employee of the biometric screenings as well as benefit us as far as our premium, is that correct?
Absolutely. What will be performed at the biometric screening, they will do the AC1, they'll look at the cholesterol, they also do blood pressure. They're going to look at the body composition. And these tests, in the past, what has happened is it's also made employees aware of conditions that they need to follow up with their primary physician. And it's also going to be one of the requirements for the wellness incentive. There's 2 requirements, the HR risk assessment and also this biometric screening. So usually we have a great turnout, but an employee not only can go through the fair, but they can also go to their primary physician. So I feel like it's a big plus.
And it gives us a benefit on our premiums.
I'm sorry?
It gives the county a benefit as far as the premiums. In other words, if we didn't have this, our premiums would likely be higher.
I think so. I think we've seen in the past that our insurance, we've been able to keep the increase minimal, and I think a lot of it has to do with making employees aware of their health.
One last question. If an employee goes through this, do they get any benefit like a reduction in their prescription cost or anything? Is there any?
No, it doesn't actually do that, but this year there is going to be rebates on the prescription side, so I think with everything that we're trying to do to make employees aware of their health, makes it that much better. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We now have 9.2, an RFP for employee benefits brokerage and consulting service. I'm going to call on Theron Gay, who you all know and has worked with us for several years on different projects. He's going to present this request, and I'm going to ask Theron to come on. Oh, there you are. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, it's nice to be before y'all tonight. I've had the pleasure of working with you, and kind of feel like that, I'm trying to be part of the team here. I appreciate all you guys do, and I appreciate the interaction that we've had. I am here tonight to talk about a request for proposal for your employee benefits and consultant services. The firm you have, I think, has done a good job, and I think they've been here for about 10 years. And so it's always good to take a look at your services. I think after that period of time, and the company you're using may be the very best, but at least we'll have an opportunity to take a look at that, see if they can sharpen their pencil just a little bit, and or enhance services, and move forward from there. So what we've done is we have drafted an RFP, and once it's approved by this board, and I think that legal's already taken a look at it, and everything is fine from their perspective. What we wanted to do is to go ahead and after y'all approve this, if you approve it at your next meeting, we would go ahead and have it advertised in the county's legal organ. We'll put it on the county website, and we put it in with the statewide county organizations such as ACCG or the Clerks Association or things like that, where we'll get a broad spectrum of applicants coming in and firms that'll be interested, because you guys have y'all are certainly will draw a lot of attention from that community and that marketplace. So as noted above, what we would be looking to do is to have this sent out, as I had mentioned, and then if there's companies, and there are companies locally and in the Atlanta area that are known for this business, we go ahead and mail them out a copy of the RFP. Now, if there's people that take a look at it on the website, or there's groups that take a look at it on the ACCG or other, what we do at that time is I've asked that they actually send me. That way we can keep it a very fair process. They send me to my email and request a copy of the RFP be mailed to them. What I will then do is to contact the office with the name, number. That way we can track who has the RFP, who doesn't, and we'll get Susan and her staff to mail that out, or to even send it, as we need to by email if we need to do that. And it's got to have the company name, company information, and the packets that they bring in, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, they need to be sealed. And we'll talk about the procedure of how to, take those in just a few minutes. I've asked for 14 copies. That may sound like a lot, but when we get down to finalizing this and bringing it back for y'all's consideration, I want to be sure we have a copy for everybody without Susan having to, or her staff having to reproduce it. And if they've got, kind of a glossy presentations they want to do, then they can have enough copies for you guys to have that. Now, what we've done is we've also, just to ensure the integrity of this, we've asked that that the proposers not contact any county staff and not contact any elected officials prior to the award of bid, and that would be your November 3rd or so meeting. What we will do is I have put my email in here, so if they have questions, if they have clarifications, if they want an RFP, what we'll do is we'll take that question from that proposer, and we will rewrite it. We won't tell it came from so-and-so, and we'll send that question and answer back out to all of the vendors that are on Susan's list. So that way everybody gets the same information throughout the process. And we need to stop that at a particular time, and so that would be effective through September the 16th at 5 p.m. Because, that'll give them about a week and a half after that before the final proposals have to be in, and that'll give everybody an opportunity to have the questions answered and receive all the information they need. Now, What we're looking to do is once this goes out, and once you guys have approved it, we're going to be bringing this back in. So the key dates is going to be your September 1st meeting, okay? On September the 16th, as we mentioned, was the last day to be able to receive a copy of it, technical questions and clarifications by emailing me for that issue. Then on September the 18th, I think our committee is going to meet, and we're going to talk about the procedure that we'll use in order to properly evaluate it. And the committee is going to be composed of 6 employees of Meriwether County. And I think that's very important because they're going to be
Carroll
the
County.
ones. Excuse me. Carroll County. When I was in Meriwether, I kept saying, Coweta County.
Just
So,
want to make that clarification
yes,
right
I
quick.
appreciate
Not
that.
to throw you
Carroll,
off, but-
Carroll County. And so what we'll do is the employees will be able to help select that. We're going to put together a little ranking sheet, and what I want to hear back from the employee committee is what is most important for you. What do you feel like out of all the qualifications is the most important thing for this group to be able to provide to Carroll County? And then what we'll do after that is that after that September 18th meeting, we'll wait for the September 25th, which will be the proposal deadline. That'll be at 10 o'clock. I'll be here. We'll open those at that time, 10:01. And all we'll really do at that point is to record and announce who we've received these from. Okay, so that will be recorded and will be announced. And then we'll have these brought back. We'll bring the committee back in. And I think I actually have a September 18th meeting scheduled with the committee to go over that and how we're going to do it. And then the October the 2nd, the committee is going to meet again to review the proposals. And then what we're going to do is let them rank the proposals. So maybe there's like 4 that's their top. And what we'll do is we'll set up an oral presentation where they can come in and make a presentation to the committee. And then from there, the committee will meet again and we'll discuss it. And the committee will narrow this down to 2 proposers. And those proposals will come back to this board at your 4 o'clock meeting on October the 29th. And we're asking that they be allowed 45 minutes for presentation each side. So you'll hear 2 45-minute presentations that evening. And then, of course, on November the 3rd, the selection will be back to this board for y'all to make the decision. Now, as these sealed envelopes come in sealed boxes, what we're going to ask is that they be recorded in Susan's office, and that we record them as to date, time, received, that we have 2 people be able to be there as part of the staff, and that they'll record all that and then sign across the seal of the envelope. That way, there's no doubt when we get ready to open these on September 25th that there's been nothing, improper whatsoever. So we will assure that process, in that procedure. Now, looking at this and telling you a little bit about what we want to do, I've sent you, everybody's seen the proposal, so I'll be glad to answer any questions. Just some real quick information for you. Again, that proposal evaluation committee is going to be 6 employees, and I will help them with this, but I want them to play a critical role in this because it is their program and their benefits that you guys will be providing. The oral interviews, as I said earlier, we're not going to call necessarily all of them in, but I think it's a good idea to call maybe 4 in and have an interview. Let's talk back and forth between the committee and the proposer to get some of the committee's questions answered. And then, of course, I talked about already about your role in that, which will be to take the final 2 and be able to select from that group. Now, what we ask for in terms of minimum qualifications, they've got to be licensed in Georgia. They've got to have the expertise, the license, and resources to be able to provide the service. They've got to have the ability to consistently maintain that staff and be sure that they're qualified to help us. And one bold thing here under item number 3 is we do not want them going out and to the brokers, insurance marketplace on behalf of Carroll County. What we want is for the final broker selection will be the person that goes out. We don't want them going out and trying to get quotes for insurance. That's not really what we're looking at. What we're looking at now is for the service that they will provide in terms of that brokerage discussion, and also other programs that they have and they may recommend that we implement. The couple other things, we want to know their history, including size. I mean, if there's a company out there that's provided this service for a county with 10,000 people, that may not be relevant to what you guys are looking for. So that will go into this questionnaire, and will also go into the decision as well. Another thing that I think is very important is the account team qualifications. Because sometimes I've seen, you'll have someone come in, very good presenter, wow, boy, I'm impressed by this person, but that's the last time you see that person. The success of a project is the person you have on the ground there who is going to be your day-to-day person managing that. So we want to know, who's that going to be? Is it going to be the person that comes in and does a slick proposal, or is it going to be the person that you just guys hired last week that you're going to sit down here? So that's going to be a very important component of this. We want to talk about what they've done. We want to talk about some innovative solutions they've come in and that they have applied. We want to see, hey, this is a program we did here. It's worked great, or hey, we tried that, it didn't work so well. And then we got some legal questions about contract termination. We don't want if somebody's been terminated for the clause, apparently they were not maybe doing a good job, or if they've been disbarred or have any conflicts of interest, we want to take that all into account as well. And we want to also know how they're going to be able to provide support to Ann in her office on a daily basis. And we want to know about how the new hires and the employees that come on, how are they going to reach out to them and provide them with a knowledge of the benefits that you guys offer. Because it's amazing how many people, while you can give them the paper, you can talk to them about it, sometimes it just kind of, doesn't register with them. How they're going to communicate with employees, that's very important. I know some people my age are not real versed on the computer. So maybe I need to be able to have a phone call with somebody as opposed to just, check the website. Ongoing, we need to be able to assure this company is going to have the capability to do an ongoing planned performance monitoring. Forecasting about where they think this is going to go, claims experience analysis, and benchmarking reporting. Let us know where we are in this process. And that really doesn't need to be probably at the end of the year. I think July 1 is your planned renewal date. You guys should be hearing from them in December about how this is going, what we're planning on doing, and that way you can kind of plan for the upcoming budget, and you can talk about things that are going well and things that are not going well. We will know about the technology. While I said people like myself, my age group, we like to talk on the phone, but a lot of the younger employees do use online. We want to know how that's going to work, how that's going to look. And we also ask for their experience with virtual or online medical treatment or services. That's pretty important, especially in today's world. My last doctor's visit was the first time I had an appointment over whatever we were using, Skype or whatever. It's the first time he'd ever done it too, but it's a different world. But there are a lot of on-site and online medical people where you can call a doc up, you can get a nurse practitioner, you can do a lot of things on that. So we want to know about their capability to be able to do that. We want to know about implementation of wellness programs. I know that's a big topic in every county, is a wellness program. And you want to be sure that they help you guys structure a program that's really going to benefit the employees. What you want to do, and I know a lot of times there's a reduction in your co-payment that goes with that, but the real goal of it is to make the employees healthy. And so you got to be able to structure a wellness program that people are going to attend, that you're going to have a lot of, a lot of feedback in. I know I've seen health coaches come in and meet. Y'all are a pretty big county, so it's going to be a little harder. But meet with the individual employees. There's just a lot of options out there. And I think we need to look at what some of those options are and what they may cost for you guys to do it. And we need to look at how they, what they propose in terms of fees for the county. But just as importantly, I know to you guys, is what services they're going to provide. If they can't reduce costs, what enhancements can they provide for y'all's employees? And I think there's a lot of options out there in just covering this that that we need to discuss with this firm. And there's a lot of new ideas and things, and attendance of gyms and provision of gyms maybe in the county somewhere, a reimbursement program, just a lot of things that can be looked at. But what we're hoping to do with this is to get a list of really good firms, really qualified firms that'll be able to come in, bring some new ideas, bring the cost into you guys, and have y'all take an opportunity to say, okay, this is great, we like what we have, whatever it may be, but at least you will be able to take a look at that, and you'll be able to examine what's there. And the taxpayers will know that as y'all have always done, that you're doing your due diligence to be able to be sure that you're spending their tax dollars as wise as you can. And if you can save money or you can enhance benefits, I think that's an important process for you guys. So I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has. And
Mr. Gay, first of all,
yes,
I
sir.
want to say I appreciate your involvement in this. We've seen you're a great professional and you have a wealth of institutional knowledge, so I appreciate the time that you've clearly put into this, trying to set this out and make sure that this is a good RFP sent out. I appreciate the fact that we're going to try to be above board as best and fully transparent as we can about the pricing and the bid process, something that we can easily defend. I like the idea that you're going to kind of head that up and you're not technically on this board or an employee, so to speak, so I like that setup. A couple of things that I guess I want to put into this and hope you will take an advisement as you're doing this process.
Sure.
As far as the committee, I just want to make sure that we have a good cross-section of representation from maybe administration or supervisor versus non-administration or non-supervisory roles. I think that everyone is important, but everyone brings something different to the table. As you mentioned, possibly HR is going to look at their involvement with this totally different than an employee that's saying, hey, I just want access to my benefits, or I want to make sure that my insurance is on time and paid correctly at the doctor. And so everyone may have a different role or a different idea of what they bring to the table in that. So I want to make sure that there's a good cross-section on the committee. And I think the other thing that I want to make sure of when we're talking about the wellness program that was put into this is something, I know I spent a lot of time going to the different lunch and learns that I really enjoyed that were put on. And the whole idea of the wellness program that takes time is to make sure that the workforce becomes healthier over time. So there again, I think you have a balance. You have, we want employees to get their points and so on and so forth and save money, but on the other end, we also want to be physically responsible that if we're spending this money, resources, time, we want to also make sure that the employee that's wanting to participate is somewhat pushed, if you will, to improve their health. So I just hope everything is a balance. I think the wellness program has a lot of potential. I think it's done well. I think it even has more potential, but I just want to make sure we're balancing when we talk about a committee that we have people that bring in different ideas or roles of what they're examining. And I'm assuming when you're talking about this, you're going to have a premeditated score sheet, that will have different points for pricing, services, different things will be graded, and that's how you'll tally that, correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct. And what I want to do, one of the reasons for meeting with the group prior to the opening of the bids is to go over those procedures. And then what we'll do is we'll develop that sheet. I want to see what the employees say is a big concern for them in looking at this. And so you're right. We need a good cross-section of the county, very diverse, and we need the score sheet where we can score each of the companies that come in on a, same basis, where everybody comes in and discounts for this much, et cetera. The wellness program, it is a long-term program. You can't implement one in 1 year and say, oh, look, we've got a wellness program and just, go forth. You have to keep it going. And I have seen a wellness program work where at a time when some people were seeing as much as 15, 16% increase in the premiums, I have seen them actually just be stable. And that was because of a good participation in a wellness program that cut down on the people that didn't know they had high blood pressure or got them to say, hey, you need to go to the doctor and take the preventive precautions. And the wellness coach in that scenario would come, they would get blood pressure taken, they would counsel with them, and just talk about things they were doing. And they set up little contests too. Everybody likes to be competitive. And, so we'd have in October, I know that was always a step. How far can you walk? Who's walked the most in October? The company would provide the little pedometers or whatever you put, and the people would verify. Of course, you're trusting them to be honest, but they will be. And but at the end of the day, the company then provided some gift certificates for them. Certificates where, hey, this person walked the most. We had people that were walking. I'm telling you, they really were. But we also had a good weight loss in that. We had some incentives on that, so it worked very well. And what you guys need to see is just a variety of options that's going to be beneficial for your employees. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Couple
Yes,
more
sir.
questions there, if you got.
How are you, buddy?
So, going off of Cliff's point, as far as the cross-section, and in addition to cross-section of types of workers and departments and so on, I think it, of course, you probably already considered this, but important too, to get different age groups as well as gender groups. Like
You're right.
some young guy like Montrell over there, he would have, I mean, with,
Appreciate that.
a kid or two in school and that kind of, I mean,
Yes.
they would have different needs or whatever than somebody like me that is 5 or 10 years beyond that age.
You're
And-
exactly right.
yeah.
You're exactly right.
And as well, like, the pregnant mother or whatever, I mean, or that's just had a child, I mean, there are a lot of different scenarios. I like that.
And people that need family coverage, people that don't need family coverage, the
Yeah.
whole gamut is, as much as we could get a good representative group would be good. But you're exactly right about the age, because the service that I would need, even in a wellness program, is vastly different from these folks here. They need something entirely different than I do. I just need be able to get up and around and keep down my weight and and get everything checked out. They may need something totally different than I do. So you're 100% right with that.
Going, as far as scoring, is there some already established kind of benchmark thing we could spring off of, or are we going to start from scratch?
Well,
I don't know.
I will have, and I will be glad to send it to everybody, and I'll have a kind of benchmark that we'll spring off of, and then what we may do on there is kind of ask the committee, how do you rank this? What's most important, least important, and then what we may do is we may assign a point system to that. So if you score high up here, it may be worth 10 points. Down here, it may be worth 2 points. So we'll score it that way, where at the end of the day, there will be a logical way that we've evaluated to be sure that we have everybody. And I tell you, the oral presentation is probably going to be as telling as anything. And I think that will answer, we'll be able to get answers from that group. And what we'll do is that after they're open, we'll look at them, we'll try to formulate those questions, and we'll narrow them down from there. And sometime between when they're open and before we're trying to get back on I think it's 16th or 19th, we'll look at all that. We'll have all that stuff ready to go, and we'll be ready to do it. Make sure it's a fair process and that you guys get what you need and the best service you can for your dollar. And I know that's what you guys want.
And I know I'm harping on the lunch and learns, but when I started going to those, I was amazed at how much I had learned, and I mean, you think of wellness or you think of just being sick or having the flu and going to the doctor, but, you know, the lunch and learns that Ms. Lee and Ms. Lofton were, I guess, heading up for HR, you know, sleep, not being able to sleep at night, so sleep disorders. They'd have somebody come in and speak on that, and then you'd have somebody come in that says, you know, how you make a meal every day for $3. Well, maybe we have some, you know, people that are on a tighter budget and they need to learn how to, so there's so much thing under that category of wellness besides just, hey, I have the flu, or how do I keep from getting the flu? So that would be my other thing when you all are looking at that is really a cross section, and I'm sure that program will evolve over time with technology, but it's so much more than just that initial sniffle or flu. There's so much more that a wellness program does that I had really enjoyed from the lunch and learns. And I know we have some employees that they may not all can go to lunch at 11 or 12 and go to those, and so that may be a challenge with a larger group as well. But I just really enjoyed those and thought they were very beneficial.
And you're exactly right. It's really, in fact, not about the flu and not about any of that. It's about healthiness and long-term sustainability of that. And I'm not going to call names, but I know in Meriwether County, there's an employee who initially under the program was able to, you know, lose a lot of weight. And that employee, through the wellness program and the lunch and learns and the healthy snacks and whatever, has been able to maintain that. You know, some people may lose, hey, I lost 15 pounds, but tomorrow or this time next week, I done be gained 20. You know, so I'm 5 pounds heavier than I was. But that's what the wellness is for. It's for long-term sustainability of the employees and healthy. And that's where it benefits your insurance premiums down the road, because it's all based on history. If you have a bad history, employees with a lot of health problems, your premiums are going to be more. And if you could get them out and get them into a wellness program and get people participating in it, make it fun, make it exciting, you'll reap the benefits. It may be 2 or 3 years down the road, but you will reap the benefits from it. Another question?
Kudos to Michelle or whoever contacted you, I imagine, for this. I think it's great to get this RFP outlined in this detail and with this thoroughness. I like that.
Fantastic.
I would say we might consider using you for some other types of RFP.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I told you guys, I've actually been working with y'all for quite a while now, and I enjoy it. Y'all have some wonderful employees and employees that have been a friend of mine for a long, long time, and I appreciate all she does. But I also enjoyed, working with you guys. I think when I worked with y'all before, I got to know you a little bit better personally, and I'm a people person. So I appreciate that opportunity, and I appreciate just an opportunity to get to work with you guys, because I appreciate it. And I appreciate what all of you bring to the table in terms of wanting the best for the citizens of Carroll County. So I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Theron, I want to thank you for a clear, concise, and informative report. I've heard things like this from you before, but I would ask one thing.
Okay.
In the future, would you describe us something different than a community located in the southwest quadrant of Metro Atlanta? I mean,
I certainly will.
North of Central Hatchie, east of Hawk, Alabama, something along
I
those
understand. I understand, and I'll be happy to do that. I actually took that off the information packet on the internet, but I'll change that. I'll change that. Sure will, because that's not always a good thing, is it? That 50 miles, maybe it needs to be 100 miles. And I know you guys have state your name and address for the record. Do you guys need me to do that, or are we okay?
You're good.
Thank you.
Look, I look forward to working with you guys. If I can help y'all any way, you have any other questions on this, any other topic, please give me a call. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, so item 9.3 is a consideration of bids for a vehicle for the chairman. You will recall that when I became chairman, we were using a vehicle that the sheriff was kind enough to loan us. Since then, the sheriff has been able to fill several vacancies in the department, and it was a vehicle that is better suited to a deputy or an investigator than it is for the chairman, who's just, it was I think, a waste of a resource. So I was happy to give it back. So I have Charles Pope here to go over the bids and what we got back.
Madam Chair, if I can interrupt before Mr. Pope, one of the automobile dealers that submitted, replying to this RFP, I have a business affiliation with, and after discussing with legal counsel, it would be appropriate for me to recuse myself from any discussion or vote on this particular topic.
I understand, thank you. Okay, Charles?
Well, I'm in pretty much the same situation, so I'm going to have to abstain on this vote.
Okay, so I have Clint and Steve will recuse from voting on Tuesday.
Other than offering up my personal vehicle, I mean,
All right.
I'll turn it over to Charles now.
Well, the chairman came and, of course, most of the vehicles are bought through Public Works, the smaller vehicles other than the sheriff cars and the fire vehicles. And she had asked for a mid-size SUV. So we, and I put a committee together, which myself, Mr. Skipper, and the fire chief, Tim Paget. And so we sent out the RFPs on August the 10th to several of the dealerships like we did the last time. They were sent out to Don Rich Ford, Pugmire, John Thornton, GMC, Mike Bell Chevrolet, Liberty Chevrolet, Pioneer Ford, and Scott Evans Chrysler Dodge. And the RFP's proposals was to be returned August 27th by 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So we had two that responded, which one was Don Rich Ford, and the other was Scott Evans Chrysler Dodge. Don Rich Ford was $42,919. Scott Evans Dodge was $40,048. So our committee met again, and we decided to go with both these vehicles is comparable to each other. So we decided to go with the cheaper one, which was $2,871 cheaper. We recommended to go with the Scott Evans Dodge, the Chrysler product.
Hey, does anybody have any questions for myself or for Charles or the committee?
just interested, not that it matters now, but why did the others not respond, do you think?
Probably just another case of the model changing this time of the year. And, you know, all we do is send it out. We can't make them respond, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not hearing any more questions. Thank you. Thank you to the committee.
All right,
We're
thank
working
you.
on this. Next, we're going to move into the business section. 10.1 is an amendment to the County Code of Ordinances to correct a typographical error that was made in the original 2015 ordinance setting the tax rate for tax class 2. I'm going to call on the county attorney, Stacy Blackman, to review this amendment.
Thank you. I think your agenda item pretty well explains that we discovered recently that there was a typographical error in the 2015 ordinance that was adopted. There was a missing 0 in the tax rate for the gross receipts on commercial and industrial classes in one column, and it was said .00625 when it should have been .000625. In one column, that 0 was missing, but in the next column with the example rate, the dollar figure, it was correct. And it's been implemented correctly since 2015. We just now discovered this and thought we should correct it. When you all adopt the tax rate and fees every year in the budget, and it's always been correct in the budget. So it's just fixing an error we discovered.
Any questions?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. I'm really excited about our next item, 10.2. It's concerning a new company, Miniot Foods, opening a facility in Carroll County. Miniot is a leading provider of cooked meats to national restaurant chains and grocery stores. The company is out of South Holland, a small community sort of like ours, and is a fourth-generation family-owned. Actually, I think it's fifth generation right this moment, owned and operated business. And they're very, very community-minded in South Holland, so this is exciting for us that they would like to do an investment in Carroll County. and create 143 new jobs. So I'm going to call on our County Attorney, Stacy Blackman, again to present this memorandum of understanding that we're going to have with Minneot.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. This is a tax abatement memorandum of understanding that has been approved by the Carrollton Payroll Development Authority, and it has the standard goals that the company has to meet, and as the chairman said, it's to create at least 143 jobs by 2023 and at least $64 million capital investment by 2023. They have outside parameters, depending on how the market goes. It's hard to predict right now, but a maximum of 110 million and a maximum of 371 jobs. And the abatement schedule is the same that was offered to their predecessor, Colorado Premium, and I think that's on page 7 of that MOU if you look at your iPad packet. And it's years 1 through 5, it's 0% tax paid, year 6 and 7, 20%, year 8, 40%, year 9, 60%, and year 10, 80%. And like I said, they have the standard clawback, so if they don't meet at least 80% of their goals, then they no longer receive the abatement. And do you have any questions?
Ms. Buckland, I believe we had someone from Carroll tomorrow that spoke before administration, I think, that is in charge of trying to follow up and make sure that they're adhering to the policies. So that would be the same situation here, that we have someone that's following up on this to make sure they're meeting those threshold guidelines, correct?
That's right. The Carroll tomorrow is very good. Their annual reporting requirements it's attached to that MOU, and they make sure that the tax office gets those reports every year, so they do a good job with that.
Thank you. I'm also excited to have this company coming in, Madam Chair.
So are they planning on building a new facility, or is that?
It's the existing facility that Colorado Premium was in,
Okay.
so, yes.
It's even better.
But they are having to spend some funds because what they do is a little different than Colorado Premium, so they're having to retrofit it. So,
And they already have people in that building.
Oh, they do? Okay.
I was talking to one today. He had worked there previously, and apparently they're doing some work in there, and they brought some of those folks back, so.
Oh, good. That's good.
okay, any further questions, comments? Okay, great. We'll move on to 10.3, which is another, this is like a really great meeting today. We are going to hopefully vote to receive a proposed donation agreement, a consideration to accept some land donated with Topsoil Preservation's Alliance Circa 106 LLC for property located at 660 Moss Ferry Road in Villa Rica, and for a future site of a county park. So we have Stacy again to present this agreement to us.
Thank you. You have in your packet a proposed donation agreement for this property, and then you have a lot of very long attachments for that. This property is about 106 acres, and in 2018, a deed of conservation easement was placed on the property with the Atlantic Coast Conservancy, so a land trust. So this land is protected on its uses. It's a perpetual conservation easement. So the permitted uses include protecting the critical habitat, the forest trees, and they allow certain limited low-impact outdoor recreation, education, nature observation, and scientific studies. So that's ideal for the green space and future possible park that you might want. There are limitations on the areas that can be developed, like there's a 1-acre site that's in the southwest corner. If you look at those maps on page 49, and you can only have like a very small facility there. Any parking has to be less than 10 cars. You can have an information kiosk and just a small restroom with a shelter picnic area. So there are some, I think some uses like foot trails are permitted in certain areas, but we usually have to notify the Conservancy if there's something like a 5-year recreation plan. So we will need to do a phase 1 report. That's required by statute. So we have a couple of quotes. That's the environmental report, and the lowest quote was $2,000 from Robbie York's company, and Contour Engineering was around, I think, $3,200. So we'll do that before we accept the property and take the deed if you approve this donation.
I'm very thankful to our constituent and fellow community member, Jeff Matthews, for donating this property or offering to donate it for us. I see it as a great way to preserve some more land for Carroll County. The fact that it'll be a passive park, so for any future commissioner sitting in the seat, we're not burdening them with any other buildings and employees and stuff. So it's just in that particular area of Carroll County, it's a much needed area. So I'm very, very, very thankful, and I know he does not want a lot of credit, but I'm very appreciative for his support to all of us.
I also want to echo that sentiment and appreciating Mr. Matthews stepping forward and trying to work with the county on this. Commissioner Reynolds and I kind of district lines split that area. I've got all of Fairfield, and Commissioner Reynolds kind of comes to the outskirts there. So this is definitely something that is going to affect that we would both be involved in, along with the chairman, obviously, being elected county-wide. Several things that we've talked about on this board is making sure that we do development smart and in areas where we need it, and where we don't need them, we don't have it. Moss Ferry Road is a very winding and narrow road that already has a lot of traffic flow on it. So that large tract of property, being able to take away that development and being able to keep the cars to a minimum there, more not any more than we've already got, I think is a huge plus for us as far as traffic and safety concerns. As the chairman mentioned, land is the only thing they're not making any more of. So I think it is good to have, and this is kind of the way of the future with passive parks. You're seeing a lot more of these type parks, if you will, come about to fruition. The other thing is, that you had mentioned, Ms. Blackman, about having, I guess, 10 cars. This property actually butts up to Fairfield Plantation. So that's another opportunity that we could even have pedestrian traffic that, could just walk through the neighborhood in Fairfield and then walk right onto this particular piece of property. So when you look at all the dynamics, when you look at the kind of the umbrella idea, the utopia idea that the board wants to make sure that we're approving developments or not having developments where we don't need it, to reiterate what I just said, I think that when you look at all of the elements surrounding this, I don't know that we could have a more perfect opportunity. So not adding any more traffic there, being able to preserve property, and then adding some value there with a passive park that residents can enjoy in perpetuity. So thank you for being able to work on this for us, Ms. Blackman.
Do we have any further questions for Stacy?
Thank you.
Okay. The next thing we have is zoning that we don't discuss at work sessions, but I did want to let you know that 11.2, the rezoning at 161 Mandeville Lane has been postponed by the applicant. So on Tuesday's meeting, we will only have 11.1, 112 Eureka Church Road. So if there is no further business to discuss at this point, I will stand us adjourned.